Hello, everyone. One of the biggest questions that new and returning teachers may be asking about is the pay. How much money will I make with VIPTeacher? So, of course, new teachers, you're starting fresh. This is all new. But returning teachers, there may have been some changes depending on the last time you taught when it used to be VIPKid. So this might be new for everyone. So first, let's talk about the base pay. If you're a returning teacher, you might remember that the base pay was different for different teachers. That is no more. Now every teacher has the same base pay. For 25-minute classes, it's going to be $7 per class. And of course, there are 50-minute classes, so it just doubles to $14 per class. So how do I make more money then if we're all making the same? Well, VIPTeacher is using the tier system. But the good thing about the tier system is everybody makes extra money, no matter if you're new or have been working here for 5+ years. So first, you need to know what tier you're on. Your tier will be determined by your lifetime finished classes. How many classes you've ever taught with VIPKid, VIPTeacher. So if you're a returning teacher, all those classes you taught years ago will still be included, okay? So don't worry, you're not starting over. But if you're a new teacher, of course, you're gonna start on tier 1, but everybody gets an incentive, even if you're a brand new teacher teaching your first class. So that is a benefit. You will actually be making more than $7 per 25, more than $14 per 50. So once you know what your tier is, so look, 0 to 79 is tier 1, 80 to 199 is tier 2, and it goes up to tier 10. Once you get to 10, you're maxed out. That is when you teach up to 10,000 classes. So I'm on tier 7. I have a ways to go. So once you know what your tier you're on, and don't worry, you can find it on your platform, you'll know, then the amount of money you get extra per class is determined on how many classes you teach in that month. So it starts over every single month. So if you teach between 1 to 20 classes in the month, you will get an extra 80 cents per class. That's the minimum. So technically, you're not making $7 per 25-minute class. You're really making $7.80 per 25-minute class. And that incentive doubles just like the price doubles for a 50-minute class. So if it's a 50-minute class, you will not make $14. You will actually make $15.60. So if you want to think of it that way, you're really making this as your base pay because you're always going to get that incentive if you finish the class, complete the class successfully. But you might notice, well, tier 1 says 80 cents, but tier 10 also says 80 cents. That's right. For the 1 through 20, it doesn't matter what tier you're in, you're going to make the same exact incentive for those first 20 classes. It doesn't matter. Now let's go to 21 to 40. You're going to notice it jumps to $1.20. And again, every single tier is the exact same, no matter how many classes you've taught. But keep in mind, when you jump up to that next category, 21 to 40, that does not change your first 20 classes. Your first 20 will only make that extra 80 cents. Your next set, any class over 20, will make $1.20. And then, of course, it increases 41 to 60. And this is where the tier starts to matter a little bit. So you'll notice 41 through 60 is $1.60 extra if you're on tiers 1 through 5. But then it jumps up to $1.70, 6 through 10. And then 61 to 90 changes a little again, $1.70 for the first 3, then $1.80, $1.90. So the more classes you teach, the bigger your incentive will be. Of course, if you're starting out, it's going to take you a while to build those students, get those classes booked, but everybody gets an incentive, which is the nice part. So then you might be thinking, well, what if my student doesn't show up to class? Do I still get paid? Well, let's talk about student no-shows, SNS, student no-show. If it is a trial class, you will make half pay. So depending on if it was a 25-minute or 50, just half, okay? Half of the pay. And the reason it's half pay is because you only have to stay in the class for 15 minutes. Let me change my pen color here. So you're only staying a little more than half of the class time. You don't have to stay the full 25, and you get half pay. If it's a regular class, not a trial, a regular 25-minute class, you will get full pay for the class if the student does not show up. But you have to stay the full 25 minutes. If it's a 25-minute class, I should have put the 50 also. If it's a 50-minute class, you stay the full 50 minutes. As long as you stay the entire class, you get full pay. So that's nice. It's kind of not fun to have to sit and stare at yourself the entire time, but it's easy money because you're just sitting there and waiting, and you get the full pay. There is another way to make extra money above the base, above the tier incentive: short notice. But keep this in mind, not every class gets short notice. That always confuses teachers. If the class does qualify for short notice, you get an extra $2, which is very nice. Short notice means it is booked less than 24 hours before the class time, okay? Anything more than 24 hours, no short notice pay. So how do you know if a class gets short notice? The easiest way to know that is to look at the type of class it is. Mainland China are the classes that get the short notice pay. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look here. When you look at your classes, this is under the Classrooms tab, you will see the section that says Tags. And here you'll see it says Mainland China. All of mine that I have in my list are Mainland China. So if those were short notice, I would get an extra $2. Mine are not, but if it was, what the negative is, when you open a class to be booked short notice, of course, there's no guarantee it will be booked. But also, there's no guarantee it will be a Mainland China. There's no way for you to say, I only want Mainland China students, unless you only are certified for those types of classes. So keep that in mind. Only the Mainland China get the extra $2 on top of the incentive, on top of the base pay. So now let's take a look at a little bit more about the payments. I'm just going to show you what it looks like in the payment center. Okay, so here are my payments. It is only the 11th of the month, so I only have like a week and a half of classes taught, but here you can see the breakdown of your pay. So the first one is the courses. When I do this drop down, this is the base pay, that $7 or that $14. I've only taught 25-minute classes this month, so I will see all of these $7 classes, $7, $7. You'll notice I have one that says $350. And I can see it was a student no-show, and it was a trial. That T tells me it's a trial. So that's why I got the half pay. I stayed for 15 minutes. The student did not show up, but I still got the half pay. That's my first category. Then I go to the second one, participation incentives. Here is where you see the tier. So it tells me right here, I'm in tier 7. It tells me the unit range is 20 or less. I have 8 classes. Even that student no-show counts as a class. And then it's 80 cents per class. 8 times 80 cents is $6.40. I'm not going to go into the course deductions because I'm talking about making money in this video, not taking away money. And then other incentives. So this, I'm not going to go into all of these because most of these don't even exist anymore. The only one I'm going to talk about is the new VIPKid sign-up incentive. So that means if you have a trial class with a student and they end up signing up for VIPKid and you were the last teacher to teach them, you will get an extra $5, okay? But keep in mind, some students might take multiple trials. So only the most recent teacher, so you might have a student that you taught in a trial and you see they signed up, and you're like, why didn't I get my $5? That means most likely another teacher taught them a trial class after you. So only the most recent gets that extra $5. Oh, the short notice. If you get a short notice, that would show up with the regular courses. So instead of saying $7, it would say $9. But as you can see, I don't have any short notices because I don't really like doing short notices. So I don't have any with that extra $2. So there you have how much you can expect to be paid if you are hired or returning to VIPTeacher. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.